أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة، حي على الصلاة، حي على الفلاح، حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. قال تعالى في القرآن الكريم: وإذ يرفع إبراهيم القواعد من البيت وإسماعيل ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم ربنا واجعلنا مسلمين لك ومن ذريتنا أمة مسلمات لك وأرنا مناسكنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا وابعث فيهم رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياتك ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة ويزكيهم إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. ومن يرغب عن ملة إبراهيم إلا من سفه نفسه ولقد استفيناه في الدنيا وإنه في الآخرة لمن الصالحين. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we give shukr to Allah for all the things that we have that we don't appreciate, like a front tooth that's gone missing. So when you realize something as simple as that, you don't give shukr to Allah for a front tooth until you realize you can't speak properly without one, subhanallah. Ya Allah, make us people who are giving shukr to you for every second of our life. And brothers, if you have this mentality, then you'll find, subhanallah, you'll find when angel of death comes to you, you see Allah says, kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut, that death has a taste. And that taste of death, some of the Mufassirin say, is at the time of death. Imagine tasting paradise and smelling paradise at the time of death, because the angel of death wraps you in the cloth of Jannah, smelling from the fragrances of Jannah, subhanallah. And imagine smelling the worst smell. Imagine the one who is mujrim, who is wrapped in the cloth of Jahannam, smelling of the worst rotting cadaver in Jahannam. If you know the smell of death, brothers, it's a smell which has a memory. You know this smell. And it's such a disgusting smell, the smell of rotting bodies. And this is again the one you will taste. Allah is reminding us every week by taking away people who are beloved to us. Our brother, Asim Dar, his wife, as some of you have heard, has passed away this week. She died, I think, from a long battle with cancer. May Allah have rahmah upon her and make her struggle with her illness as shifa for her. And may Allah Ta'ala make his family bestow upon them sabr and jamila, so that inshallah that they patiently await to be reunited with their beloved in paradise. And the janazah is at 2:30 at Lum Lane Masjid. Brothers, please make inshallah some effort to come. He's one of our respected and beloved brothers who frequently comes here for the khutbah as well. Brothers, we are now, subhanAllah, soon to be upon that in the best days of the whole year, the days of Dhul Hijjah are soon to be upon us, subhanAllah. Estimates are, inshallah, that tomorrow after Salatul Maghrib, hopefully we'll have news of the beginning of the month of Dhul Hijjah, which will make therefore Yawm al-Eid, Eid al-Adha on the 15th, or no, on the 10th. Okay, we'll work it out. I think it's the 15th of October. Yes, 15th of October, inshallah. And so these days, the days of Dhul Hijjah, subhanAllah. Brothers, the Prophet ﷺ said, no good deed done on other days are superior. So these are the best days in the whole of the Islamic calendar in relation to worship. Best days. Now, obviously, the worship, isn't made further upon these particular days, so it's up to the worshipper, how devoted he is to Rabbil Alameen. But if the Prophet ﷺ said, no deeds done on any other day are superior to the deeds that are done in the days of Dhul Hijjah. So this is a day, this is an opportunity for you to follow the footsteps of the Anbiya and the Rusul. That's what these days are. These are following in the way of Ibrahim alayhi salam, where we get our manasik from. These the rituals, the practices that we have been passed down through generations, from Ibrahim alayhi salam, through Ismail alayhi salam, through many generations to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can make a choice in the next 10 days to either follow in those footsteps, to step where they step, to walk where they walk, to behave like they behave, to be like them. Or you can just ignore it. Or you can just think, alright, it's just 10 days and we'll have a great time on Yawm al-Eid. So what we can do, and even the companion said, even jihad, fi sabilillah, fighting in the way of Allah, he said even jihad, except for the one who takes everything with him on jihad and doesn't come back. So even jihad in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this really, brothers, sums up, as I said, one of the things that really seems to be lacking in us, which is really this deep tawakkul in Allah. If there's anything about the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, it's this reliance upon Allah. Total reliance. My Lord will never forsake me. If I follow this deen, if I obey Allah and continue to sacrifice all my life, I will never fail. This verse, قُلْ إِنَّ الصَّلَاةِ وَنُسُكِ وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Say my prayer, my nusuk, and this means your manasik, these sacrifices that you make, these actions that you perform, juhd, sacrifice and struggle in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My sacrifice of service, my living and my dying are for Rabbil Alameen. My whole life from the beginning till the end. A Muslim, and this is again a lesson that we learn from stepping in the footsteps of Ibrahim alayhi salam, is that no matter how much you have served your Lord, never can you claim to have done enough to fulfill, to give shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, maybe even for one ni'am on one day. You can't do it, you haven't done enough. You are not self-sufficient. It is an arrogance, it is the height of arrogance to think you have worshipped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. So brothers, this is the battle between you and shaitan and your desires all of the time. It's another ni'am from Allah that we have Ramadan, and so in order to maintain, you could say, the iman of Ramadan, just 2 months later we have these beautiful, wonderful days for us just to recharge and then to revive as well. And this is the battle with shaitan. If it comes to a simple thing, brothers, which is to sacrifice your money for the sake of Allah. And now obviously we have the catastrophe in Syria at the moment. Not just in Syria, in many other places as well. But most acute is the catastrophe of Syria. You can turn a blind eye, brothers and sisters. You can really switch off the television. You can switch off all the media. You won't hear about it. And so therefore it will be out of your mind and out of your thoughts. And you can continue with your life if you want to live in this matter of fog. But the reality is, this is the biggest humanitarian crisis in the world at the moment. And you can do something about it. You can do something very simple about it, which is that, spend in the way of Allah. In fact, fi sabilillah, spend of what is beloved to you, of your money. Give as much as you can. And this is, as I said, the part of the struggle. You could say, but I gave last month, and I gave the month before, and I gave my zakat, so I've given enough. You could say that, but then you fail to remember that it is Allah who is Al-Malik, He owns your money. You don't own your money. It's not your money. Who said it was your money? It's just a manner from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The test of faith. The more you give, the more you will get back from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is Ar-Raziq. The more you provide for Allah, Allah will provide for you. Really, when you have that, and this is a real difficult state for many people to get into, to really have that yaqeen that Allah is Ar-Raziq, Khairur Raziqeen, best in terms of providing your rizq. That really to have this iman, that if I work for the sake of Allah and give for the sake of Allah, Allah will continue to give me my rizq. Every penny has already been written down. So that is the test of your tawakkul in Allah. Give more and you get more back. Do you really believe? So one of the ways which is easy for us, easy especially for us as we enjoy our luxurious living, is to give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you can give as much as you want, but also brothers, it's simple as that. There are many convoys, containers that are going here to Syria. Our brothers in Luton, they have a container and they are collecting winter clothing and blankets. Winter clothing and blankets. Brother Muhammad Chinchan has donated the services of his shop on Fulton Lane. If anyone wants to go and drop any winter clothes or blankets, you can drop it there. They will be picked up. And we need to send a container by the 10th of October. So there will be a pickup this week and next week. Every week there will be a pickup in terms of people. And this is the thing, brothers, subhanAllah, what we throw away, this is the thing, what we throw away is what people find is, of the most useful and beneficial thing to them. That's how Allah has given us a luxurious life. Let me tell you one story of some relief we gave in Tanzania. Where there are many, like I said, converts to Islam as well. I remember the story of a person, he received a suit and he wore it on Yawm al-Eid. He received a suit that someone had put out. Now he took that suit and they ironed, washed it, cleaned it, pressed it. It looked better than new, subhanAllah. He wore it on Eid with so much fakhr, so much pride. Alhamdulillah, this suit that had been sent to him. Okay, and we had just put that suit out because it was maybe past it's not fashionable enough, it's not this year's fashion, subhanAllah. So brothers, even this is a ni'mah from Allah, that we have the ability to benefit so many people around the world. We have the benefit of it so much, so many levels, whether it's spending, whether it's donating, whether it's just raising consciousness, raising awareness. And for those people who are in positions of authority, to lobby people of authority, politicians and the likewise, to make sure that there is some kind of solution. But most importantly, brothers, the days of Dhul Hijjah, the best days of the year, the days for takbir, this is one of the acts of worship and this is takbir mutlaq. Anytime you want, Allahu Akbar, to raise and glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these blessed days, the best days, coming closer to Allah. But add with that takbir, a sincere dua. Ya Allah, send your nusra upon us, and send your help and your protection upon this ummah, and relieve the difficulties of the Muslimin. So this is something, brothers, practically you can do. Obviously the best thing which is done in the days of Dhul Hijjah, the best thing is that this is the season of worship. So it's obviously Hajj and Umrah. Okay, but obviously for those people who are not able to do that, then we know, brothers, fast as much as you can. Even if it's all 9 days. Fast all 9 days. If you want to fast and fast of Dawood every other day. If you don't even do that, do the Monday and the Thursday. But the least, brothers, try to do this. The least that you should do in terms of fasting, even though it is a nawafil fast, is the fast, okay, of Arafah, the 9th. And so fast on the 9th. Fast on this day. And as we know, the one who fasts on this day is forgiven for their whole sins for the previous year and the remainder of the year. Ya Allah, may our sins be forgiven by sincerely fasting upon this day of Arafah. But just quickly about what Arafah is. Arafah is the day of Hajj, is Hajj. When all of the Hujjaj are gathered. And I just want you to think about this. There is deep symbolism in these manasik, in these rites. All of the Hujjaj gathered on a plain. All of them desiring one thing only. On that day, brothers, only one thing people want. They want their Lord to listen to them. That's all you want on that day. Nothing else. And it's kind of bizarre that on that day of Arafah, as we are in nothing but our ihram, with the sun beating down on our heads, with all of humanity there from every shade, colour, and they're assembled rank upon rank. I remember when I was there, there's a panic which sets in just before Salat al-Maghrib. Panic. What is that panic? The panic is this: I haven't done enough dua. I haven't done enough dua. And you see everyone come out just at that time. Okay, before, as the Hujjaj, as we know, they have to leave after everyone comes out and they start raising their hands to Rabbil Alameen. And I look left and right, and everyone, and it was becoming dusk time. It's a deeply spiritual moment, subhanAllah, for the whole of this earth. The best worshippers on the earth at that time are on Yawm al-Arafah, begging to Rabbil Alameen, Ya Allah, answer their du'as this year, and let their du'as filter through the whole of this earth in terms of bringing goodness. You see it? So the slave on that day only wants Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to listen to his dua, is connected to his Rabb. And that's why it's ajib, brothers. The point here is that these are strong symbols for us that have been passed down. I want you to think about it deeply, that how we need Allah every moment of our lives. That relationship on Arafah is no different to the relationship I have now, or anyone has, and especially when they masibah or a hardship or a calamity or then you remember Rabbil Alameen. Now, one of the stories of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and this is about righteousness, is that where you are righteous, brothers, and where a father is righteous, this doesn't just benefit the father, this benefits generations after the father. Generations. The quality of the father figure, the patriarch. Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah Ta'ala refers him to him just like the Prophet as Uswatun Hasana. He's Khalilullah, the friend of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Awwahun Halim, soft and forbearing in his manner and his conduct. He is the father of the Anbiya. Adam alayhi salam is the father of all of us, but he's the father of the Anbiya. Why? Because from his lineage comes Ismail and Ishaq, and from Ishaq comes Yaqub, and from Yaqub comes his 12 sons, including Yusuf alayhi salam. And I'm going to talk a bit about Yusuf alayhi salam today, relating to another subject. So this is generations that come from one righteous patriarch. I want the men in this room to think about this. You have the position to be not just the patriarch, and it means the father, Rabb al-Bayt, the lord of your manor, the lord of your house, not just for your immediate family, but it is your legacy, what you leave behind, which will inspire generations of your blood, your family to come. Your children, your children's children, and their children, generations to come. That's one of the stories of the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam. This is one of the things he's left. Is that don't just think of yourself. If you are a person of the future thinking, you're thinking 50 or 100 years ahead, generations ahead. And do you not want to be that patriarch? In some of us, our family, see, because unfortunately due to colonization of the Muslim lands and secularization of Muslims, we lost generations of Muslims who forgot their identity and who they were. Now, alhamdulillah, you see a global awakening of Muslims as people become conscious and aware. And so think of this, brother. It's not just you and your immediate family. The legacy you leave behind will be alive for generations. And they will remember our great-great-grandfather. He was the one who introduced Tawheed back into our family. He introduced the love of Quran back into our family. Our family, and we know it, many of our families, they didn't used to worship Allah. They didn't even used to even think of even coming to Yawm al-Jum'ah and doing the fasting Ramadan or anything. Our father introduced and embedded into our family the practice of worshipping the days of Dhul Hijjah and fasting on a Monday and a Thursday. And the significance of Arafah. Our great-great-grandfather, he told us this. And let me tell you, my grandmother, Allah rahm upon her, and I'm just giving you this, what the significance of this story is. My grandmother, okay, as people who weren't very practicing, but my grandmother was the only practicing person in my family. Talking about 30, 40 years ago now. She was the only person. I remember one thing she always used to say to me, which was this, the way she hated her photograph being taken. She said, haram, haram, haram. Don't take photographs. When we're going back 40, 50 years, these were alien concepts. Just one of the things I remember, that whenever we learned anything, even if it was La ilaha illallah kalima, that we'd go to Nani, and Nani would give me 5p for saying the kalima La ilaha illallah. Now these things, I'm telling you 40, 50 years ago, a different environment for what we have now, they had a real effect on me. In terms of, I'm a Muslim, I have identity, I have purpose. You know, may Allah reward her. My brother learned Surah Al-Rahman, he got £5, subhanAllah. He'd come and recite Surah Al-Rahman, that's how he gets all the money he gets. You know, I just get 5p for a curly-whirly. But this is going back in the days. And so the point here, brothers, it's about generations. This is what we should be thinking of. The story, you know, of Ibrahim alayhi salam. And I just go through it. You know, Allah says in the Quran, Rabbi habli minas salihin. My Lord, grant me a righteous son. فَبَشَّرْنَاهُ بِغُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ. So Allah Ta'ala gave him a غُلَامٍ حَلِيمٍ, a soft and forbearing son. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, he's making dua to Allah. He's elderly in age. Ya Allah, bestow upon me a son, not just any son, but a son who is righteous and muttaqi, who will continue his intention is someone to continue his works. Not just that he has a trophy son. People want to have a trophy son. And this again part of what, you know, we undermine the status of our sisters. The girls have no status in our community. Again, coming back onto the point, you know, brothers, you don't realize the women are rocks in our community. Really, the women they're keeping families together. And that's why, you know, subhanAllah, when a mother passes away, okay, you know, her family are lost because that's how much they are. That's why I say cherish your mothers while they are here. They're rocks. You don't seem to realize that. No one can fill the gap a mother leaves behind, believe me. In the same way, you know, if your wife passes away and you're still alive, I sometimes think this is a bit of a hardship on the husband because the men are more in need of their wife than the other way around sometimes. That, you know, you realize what an enormous hole is left in your life when you're sahib al-jamb, when the companion at your side and your mother or your wife passes away. So brothers, the point here is that cherish them while they are here. And honor them and respect them and give them the value that they are here. So Allah gave him a righteous son. And this is one of the important stories of Ibrahim and Ismail that we sometimes don't seem to grasp. This is a story about a father and his son. And it's about the relationship between them and what it really means to be a father. And you know, when Ibrahim and Ismail were raising the foundations, وَإِذَا يَرْفَعْ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ, when they are establishing the foundations of the house of Allah, and he is doing it with his son, Ismail alayhi salam. So father and son are partners together in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at the relationship. That Ismail alayhi salam, he comes to the point of being a strong young man who's worshipping Rabbil Alameen. And they build the Kaaba. How? The foundations of the Kaaba. It is Ismail alayhi salam who's carrying the stones, and Ibrahim alayhi salam who is laying the stones. And this is how they are then going round, and this is where our tawaf, it comes from, the manasik of tawaf, as they built the four walls of the Kaaba. But in it is an important symbol of the father and the son working together to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, using their respective energies. The youth, and this is the reality, the youth, the shabab, they are the ones who have energy, vitality, physical strength, potential, capability, strong desire. If that isn't channeled into the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it is destruction for a nation. And the father's role is to be the mentor, the teacher, the role model, the guide, the inspiration, to put all of those foundations in place. And if you do that, the next generation only improves because it learns everything from the generation which comes before it. This is the kind of succession that you have. The next generation should only get better and better. So we go and jump a few generations now to Yusuf alayhi salam. And why I wanted to talk about this, I've done a whole series of lectures on the shabab. Because the term shabab now has become another one of these terms now that has become maligned, distorted, due to criminals who have completely acted in opposition to Islam. And we see what has happened in Kenya as a prime example of this. Obviously there's no Islamic basis for this. That's why I'm not even going to talk about it. It's got nothing to do with Islam. These are just criminals involved in criminal behavior. But the shabab, they have such a vital role to play. The youth are our most important asset in our community. I've said it and I will say it many, many times. They are our future. They have to be nurtured and developed. You have to put as much investment in them as possible. then you safeguard the next generation. And if you look at the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, what an amazing story this is. We haven't got time to go through. This is what we call ahsan al-qasas. These are the best stories. Why is it today that our shabab rather want to hear slogans, emotional stories? They just want to hear what sounds good, when Allah has given them ahsan al-qasas, the best stories in the book of Allah, the best role models and the best inspiration. And Yusuf alayhi salam, if you look at us, if you want an inspiration in terms of someone, okay, as for the youth, then this is Yusuf alayhi salam. Look at that, Yusuf alayhi salam, and this story is also about family. His brothers, they're jealous of him. Even though the father, Yaqub alayhi salam, doesn't give any preference. He doesn't treat one son more than another son. He doesn't have this injustice and doesn't put one son against another. No, he treats all of them fairly. But the brothers hatch a plot. We're going to kill our brother. Can you imagine this level of hasad, this level of jealousy that there is for other brother? Again, this is from kibr, and this is from the destructive sins that the person has, this hasad, this jealousy for others, that when they see good coming to a person, rather than give shukr to Allah and celebrate that, they want to undermine and they want to abuse that, use that because they say, why didn't a good come to me? Because Allah Ta'ala didn't want it to come to you. Also, from this story of Ibrahim and Ismail and Yaqub and Yusuf, look at this. The father is so concerned about the welfare of his family. And we need to do this, brothers. At the state of the parenting in the Muslim community at the moment, sometimes, you know, we are staggered by the stories that you hear. Ask any social worker, community worker, you will hear the stories. The story, one story just this week, to give you an idea, a son fakes his parents' signature to remortgage the house. Remortgages the house, loses the money, and then leaves the mother and father to continue, the elderly mother and father to continue to pay this. This happens every week in our community. This is not about, like I said, look, Ibrahim and Ismail, they're building foundations. Our community, we're destroying the foundations. We're undermining the foundations. Why would a son want to do that to his mother and father? That he would want to bankrupt them for the rest of their lives? Why would he want to do such a thing? But if the father is concerned about the welfare of his family unit, protecting his family unit, not just in terms of physical threats, but most importantly in terms of the deen, protecting their iman, protecting their haya, protecting their akhlaq, protecting their qualities. The other thing that we learn from the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, and this again, brothers, is about a quality and a characteristic that comes if you have the right role model, is what we call al-firasa. Firasa. What is this term, firasa? What does it mean? It means the intuition of a believer. And there are other people call it moral compass, your internal, your voice in your head. Now the point is this, if you grow up in an environment which is muttaqeen and salihin, Allah gives you firasa, which means the ability to understand right and wrong, to see the world in its true colors. Because your fitrah has been kept intact. Yusuf alayhi salam, Ismail alayhi salam, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept their fitrah intact. When Ibrahim alayhi salam, on one occasion, he came to visit Ismail alayhi salam, and he found that he was not there. So he knocked on his door, and his wife answered. He said, where is he? She said, he's gone looking for food. How is the state of your house? She goes, and she said, it is a terrible state in our house. We don't have enough to eat. And she did nothing but complain. He says, we don't have enough food. And then, so Ibrahim alayhi salam said to him, when Ismail comes back, tell him to change the threshold of his gate. So when he came back, okay, he said, he noticed that someone had come. He says, what did he say? He said, change the threshold of the gate. So he divorced her. Why? A wife is required that is not materialistic, that gives shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She's your partner in life. And so if you want to maintain a sense of intuition, you have the best people around you. Anyway, the story goes on, and when he came back, the second wife that he had, she said she gave nothing but shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Ibrahim alayhi salam said, keep the threshold of your gate. Anyway, the story is about the intuition. Why is it that Muslims seem to lack basic intuition? You could call it common sense, the ability to rationalize and come up with the best solution that is pleasing to Allah. Why? Because we've been messed up inside. I was talking to a brother last week, as I say, if you just spend all your time surfing, immersed in materialism, immersed in negative social media, nothing but devoted to this dunya, what do you expect is your heart and mind is going to influence and guide? And that's why you lose your moral compass and don't know and how you can be guided. Anyway, the story continues. Yusuf alayhi salam, Brothers, look, this is someone who, as a shabab, look at this. He does not react, he sticks on his mission. This is what it comes to when you have firm foundations. Whatever you do, you never compromise. You don't become reactive in your mindset. He is someone, his brothers attempt to murder him. He's then thrown in a ditch, sold into slavery, okay, bought into slavery, wrongfully imprisoned. The list, yet despite this, he does not compromise in what his values are. Rather, he continues to seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is an important principle here, that Yusuf alayhi salam uses every halal means to get the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And eventually this comes through. Why? I just want to finish. He's in a prison in ancient Egypt. It's not like the prisons today with Sky TV. You know, he's talking about a rough place with rough people. But even in that prison, people come to him. Why? Because of his qualities. He says, Allah says in the Quran, Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. We only found you to be of those people who are most excellent. Now what this means is this, brothers, you have that foundation. It means in every environment that youth goes, they exude nobility. They have the best conduct. And that makes them a magnet for all of humanity. People are just drawn to you. This is what we want our shabab to be like. People are drawn to them because they are so beneficial to the environmental state. Unfortunately, this is not the reality today. Now after this, I just want to finish with this point, the time is short. After this story, and go back and read the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, and read the many points of benefits that are in this story. It is a story for the shabab, really to be inspired, so that they base their lives upon this story. But just a final point on the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, amongst many, is this. When he gets out of prison, he goes up to the Malik, he goes up to the king of the land, and he says to him, make me the treasurer. Okay, put me in charge of your financial affairs. He volunteers himself. He goes up to him. Imagine, make me the man who's in charge, probably the most influential position in the land. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, the one who is in charge of the Treasury. Make me in charge. Now I want you to ask yourself a question. We go up to any non-Muslim today in our environment, and remember, Yusuf alayhi salam is a land of disbelievers. He's a person of Tawheed in the land of disbelievers. You go up to any place of authority and say, make me in charge of your affairs. What will the people say? And how will they react to us? So it shows how far we are from this excellent conduct. And we ain't going to get to the excellent. Allah has given us these days and these stories, not so that we can just say how wonderful they are, but so that we actually walk in these footsteps and mold our behavior in accordance with the best stories and the best role models. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر لكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد